watching. My name's Jaylene if you're new to my channel. So this video is going to be about my son's occupational therapy. We are here at his therapy appointment. We're here a little bit early, so I thought I'd jump on. Might have to jump off to help my son. So I dropped off my husband at work and now we're here. So funny story, when I dropped off my husband, normally I honk and I wave by, like when I pull out of the parking lot and turn around to around his work is at, and it's like I honk at him, and so then I was honking and he flips me off, and I think and my husband knows to turn around if it's me. So then I was like, that's weird. So I rolled down the window and I was like, babe, it's me. And then he turns around, smiles, and it's not my husband. It was some other guy. I was like, oh, I'm sorry that you're my husband. They all look the same in their uniform. I mean, I'm thinking people are gonna be like, don't you know your husband's body type? But in their uniform, in my opinion, besides the height, and he was the same height, the back of them, how they're shaved, how they have their haircut is the same, and then they all look like SpongeBob. They all look kind of squared in their uniform. So no, I can't tell if it's my husband besides the height. So anyways, that's what happened this morning. So he has his therapy at Marybridge Children's Hospital at the therapy unit, and it's right across the street from the Good Samaritan Hospital. Anyways, so I'm gonna try to show you how it looks. I think it looks pretty cool. It looks like a boat. Yeah? Say it looks like a boat. They call it the Ark, huh? Yeah, okay, come on. Looks, at least the outside. I want to show you guys the inside. I think it's kind of cool, but it's hard to do it when there's kids in there. I want to keep their privacy. I don't think they want to be shown on YouTube without their consent. So let's go see, okay? Okay. by himself. He eats normal foods for the most part. And food in his mouth. And those are just some examples as to why he goes to occupational therapy. So it helps him with that. And the way that the therapist explained it to me, the analogy she used, like imagine a cup filled with half of it filled with water. Careful, buddy. Half of it's filled with water, and that's how much sensory it takes for a baby to I guess absorb it and learn from it and then respond to it. He needs like just a very little bit of water, rather than most babies need half a cup, half of it filled with water. He needs very little bit for him to even be like just a little bit of it a little bit of water in his cup will be too much for him. He is just oversensitive with some stuff. So that's the way she explained it to me. I'll just kind of go through some, like they evaluated him, his evaluation scores. So this one here, the middle part, this is where you want him to be. This is where babies average need to be. And then he has some out here. He has a few here, yes. He has 3. And then he has 2 out here, and then he has a lot more out here. So he is much more sensitive than others. And then here's when they're less sensitive. So they can be in a super loud area, like say if it's audible sensory, in a super loud area, and it's not gonna faze them one bit. They're not gonna absorb much of it and learn from much of it. So that's on the whole other side of the scale. He is on the sensitive side of the scale. So seeking, he is just like others. Avoiding things, he's a little bit more than others. And sensitivity, he is a whole lot more than others. Registration, bystander, that's much more than others. General, that's much more than others. Auditory, much more than others. Visual, much more than others. Touch, that's in the middle. Okay. Movement is in the middle. Oral, more than others. Behavioral is much more than others. So then this, I'll just kind of read the summary so you guys can have a better understanding. These standardized test results indicate that Caleb processed sensory information much like other toddlers, with a few exceptions. Caleb has a more than others avoiding avoider, much more than others sensitivity sensor, and much more than others registration bystander. Caleb also demonstrates difficulty with processing auditory, visual, and oral input, as well as general sensory input. Caleb has a much more than others pattern of behaviors. This means he tends to have challenging behaviors more frequently than other children his age, as many of his sensory processing patterns reflect much more than others and much more than others to other children his age. The source of difficult behavior is likely that the child's behavior responses in everyday life are related to challenges with sensory processing. So that's his evaluation, and I asked the therapist why some babies respond differently with their sensory input, like, if, you know, I guess asking if there's something wrong with my son. She said that studies show that it can be from C-section. He didn't have a C-section. There's different theories, and then there's also genetics. I don't think I had a sensory issue, and then my husband said he doesn't recall having one either, so I'm not sure about that. And then some people are just like, I guess some people also have sensory input issues, but they avoid it. Like, so if he's in a very upset, like if he's in a situation where it makes him very upset, like say if, again, the IKEA example, I guess, he'll suck his thumb. And sucking his thumb, that's the only thing he puts in his mouth. He never put toys in his mouth. He never put food in his mouth. He never put anything in his mouth. I know a lot of people have problems with their babies making sure they don't put things in their mouth that they're not supposed to, eat dirt and whatnot. I never had that problem with my son yet, and he's 15 months old. So for 15 months, his whole life, I never had that issue. I may have it later, maybe when his therapy, you know, progresses and helps him progress. I may have that issue. I don't know. But anyways, so what was I saying with that? Yeah, so he'll suck his thumb to soothe himself. Other people to just work out. Other people play video games. Other people, for example, like say if something's too bright, like IKEA, it's too bright for him, and the sun too is too bright for him. Some people will wear sunglasses. That's a proper way to avoid it. With having a baby this young, you can't avoid it all, because then you're gonna not be able to go through some milestones. And so these therapy sessions help him desensitize, so that way he can go through these milestones. Obviously, he's not gonna want me to feed him when he's like 10 years old, 5 years old. So these therapies help him, instead of get frustrated that he's in the situation, it helps him learn to engage with the sensory input and help him to desensitize. So after his warm-up, I couldn't take a video of it because I tried to participate in it. I probably should have taken a video a few weeks ago when my husband was able to go to his therapy session, but I didn't. I kind of forgot. Anyways, so what they do is they massage his mouth from out here, and then they get closer to his mouth, and they just go in circles, and they put some pressure on him. I'm not hurting him, but you know, some pressure where he feels it, and that desensitizes him. Him crawling, if you saw in the video earlier, like him rolling the ball, and then the therapist has to go and get it. The way he's crawling, making a lot of movement, desensitizes him. Crawling desensitizes him because it's a lot of movement. And then they also do obstacle courses for him, where he has to crawl over pillows and other things and other textures, and that desensitizes him. You wanna come with me? Yeah, you're gonna walk towards me. You walked over here. Good job. Oh, you wanna give me kisses? Yeah, it's a little cold for him, so he's still in pajamas. I'm in some pajamas too. But anyways, so where was I? Yeah, so that desensitizes him, and then they also put this tool and it vibrates, and they put it by his mouth, and the goal is to eventually get it in his mouth, and that desensitizes him as well. So they also make me massage him, like while he's playing. If I'm just like sitting here with him and he's playing, he's distracted, I can like massage him, and that desensitizes him. If you tickle him, that makes him oversensitive again, and that kind of puts him back. So that's where he's at right now. And what else? We do that. So yeah, so desensitizing the mouth area, so he gets used to different textures, and he feels more confident in putting things in his mouth and exploring with his mouth and feeding himself. That's the goal here. And then also with noise, with brightness, we try to have him, like when you saw in so a very good example is when we saw him in the video. I tried to show you there was some kids in there, and then he was running around and he was without me. That is a huge jump. Like, he was not doing that in the way beginning. In the way beginning, he wanted no noise around him, no other kids playing around him, and now he can function kind of okay with other kids and other noise and other background noise. That took a while, but we're there now, so that's pretty exciting. So he's making some improvement, and I thought I'd jump on here and try to tell you how we do that, and maybe it can help you and guide you in some certain ways as far as exposing other sensory issues to children and babies or toddlers and young children. And then also when I feed them, I'm supposed to feed them with not necessarily like spoons and stuff. And this started on Friday, so she said you want to put like, say maybe use a toothbrush instead of a spoon, something that has different texture, and so it desensitizes him as well. And then he plays with like a toothbrush, a vibrating toothbrush, you know, like a dollar one that you can get the Dollar Tree. He'll play with that. He hasn't brought it to his mouth yet, but that's gonna be the goal. And so, yeah, that's what we're at right now. It makes some stuff challenging with his sensory issues, like for example teething. He was teething this past weekend, and he doesn't use teething toys. He doesn't put anything in his mouth, even though that can definitely help him. Or just giving him something cold to put on his gums, he won't do it. So it's challenging. So I understand some people think that these therapy things, like, oh, let your kid be, you know, who they are, and I do agree with that to some extent, and also in another extent, it's okay to seek out this help, and it's okay to just learn and, you know, take in what works for your baby. You know what works for your baby the best, the most. So, and that's what the therapist did tell me. She said, yeah, it's okay to, you know, not do everything. It's okay to not be comfortable with everything. So far, I've seen some improvement, and I understand it's slow progress, slow improvement, and he's a baby, and he's my baby, and he's unique and different, and he gives me some challenges, and that's perfectly okay. So we're just trying to help him through it, and that's all I really have to say, I think, about this. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and please give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and please leave comments, questions, complaints in the comment box, and please subscribe. That'll be great. All right, have a blessed day. Bye. Say bye, Caleb. Caleb, say bye. No? Okay, I'm saying bye for him. Bye.